Alright, here we have a special edition of Summer Reads BDSM Erotica. I have my friend who would like to remain off camera, but she's going to serve as the laugh track as I read the epilogue of The Training of an English Gentleman. Let's begin. A slave must not feel pleasure, so I am forbidden to say that my life as lord of the manor at Virginia Lodge is one of untrammeled bliss. Gone are my foolish fancies of Oxford and a so-called education. What education does an English gentleman need, other than to be the slave of imperious and demanding ladies? I am obliged to share the servant's shed with Grub. Her name is Grub. Who oversees my household duties such as laundry or mucking out.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. And has permission to whip me bare when I displease her. To prevent unseemliness, my cock and balls are enclosed in a restrainer, chained to the wall at night, and to which my mistress has the key. There's not one day when I go without beating on the bear with a cane, whip, or birch, often in a variety of painful bindings and restraints, and from each and every lady in the house. The merciless Grub especially delights in making my adornments jingle as she flogs my naked buttocks. I must be available at all times to serve my ladies for their pleasure, frequently observed by the Major, or for the pleasure of any of their friends, who vie to make my fesses squirm the most. Mrs. Holbein has assured me I shall be troubled no more by Miss Alice Arbiter, or richer, as she was given a shameful tattoo and whipped out of town for good. Sometimes I am permitted to serve as maid, and wear my mistress's frilly things, and even her pink silk panties, and am afterward bound in leather harness and cords, shackled and whipped to the bone for my impudence in wearing them. Frequently I am taken at stud. Oh my god. Where I am whipped mercilessly if my cock fails to pleasure enough ladies' holes, and whipped mercilessly if she does not fail. Sometimes I am accompanied by my good friend Greville, and we poke and take our bear beatings in painful rivalry, though he insists on calling me Sir, happily out of earshot of my mistress. We compared our flogged bums and giggle just like two thrashed schoolgirls.
What the fuck?
At other times, Grub permits me to wear her frilly maid's uniform, and my mistress gives me her pink silk panties. Thus robed, I serve her in bed as she entertains a succession of young gentlemen visitors, a dozen or so brutal, lusty males, naked and fucking her vigorously in her precious coos as she moans in her repeated ecstasy, permitting me a taunting smile every now and then. Afterwards, I must clean the bedspread, sopping with her coos oils, and take down my frilly knickers to receive a birching on the bear for my impudent spying. And if I take 4 or 5 dozen, without protest, my own cock is permitted to taste her buttered bum.
Oh my god.
After one such session, she rewarded me by giving me my mail, a postcard from my father in Uruguay. It was a photograph of him with a lady in a revealing swimsuit on the beach at Punta del Este, and she bore a striking resemblance to Miss Alice Arbiter, only she had red hair. I assume Miss Arbiter had black hair or something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. It was too disgusting to pay attention.
Oh my god. Oh dear god.
Where was I? His arm clasped her waist most affectionately. He said that business was good, and hoped to see me soon, and always knew I should assume my place as lord of the manor. I shall always treasure the memory of my first visit back to some city I can't pronounce. It was a Sunday, the roads quite deserted, and we were to journey there by pony and trap. The Major asked if Dido would not prefer him to drive us in the car, but she said it was a fine day for a ride, and Roger was just getting things ready. Dido, Miss Florence, and Grubb settled themselves on the seat of the trap. I made sure my frilly maid's uniform, Grubb's kind loan, was smart and smooth, my stockings striped with a single sluttish ladder, and my own iron shoes polished and shining. My corset was horribly tight, and my cock restrainer pinched, a double restrainer that filled my aching bumhole to bursting. Then I positioned my bridle and harness correctly, adjusted my blinkers, and tucked my skirt up to present my bum, with the pink silk knickers drawn up tight. The reins flicked, and I felt the smarting of 3 canes together, cracking on my naked bum. At once, with a whinny, I jerked to trotting motion. Let no one deny that ladies are sweet sorceresses. "Giddy up, master," cried Florence as the cane whipped me, whinnying in pleasure, and proud at last to be an English gentleman. I obeyed my mistress.
Oh my God.
I know I haven't read, any of the book, but I had to read that. So, I mean, the narrative isn't even there, so who gives a fuck, right? Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that. See you later.